December 5th, 1945, 6:20 p.m. A voice crackles over the radio from somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together. Then, silence. 5 torpedo bombers, 14 experienced Navy airmen, gone. But that's not the worst part. When a rescue plane launches to find them, it vanishes too. 13 more men. By nightfall, the U.S. Navy can't account for 6 aircraft and 27 souls. And 80 years later, we still haven't found them. This is Flight 19. And the real story is far stranger than the Bermuda Triangle legend. You've probably heard about the Bermuda Triangle, that mysterious stretch of ocean between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, where ships and planes supposedly vanish without a trace. Flight 19 is the case that started it all. The legend that launched 1,000 conspiracy theories. But here's what nobody tells you. We have the actual radio transcripts. Every word spoken by those pilots as they realized they were lost. And when you hear what they actually said, not the Hollywood version, the truth is somehow more unsettling than any paranormal theory. In the next 9 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened on December 5th, 1945. The real radio transmissions, the fatal mistake that killed 14 men, and the rescue plane that literally exploded mid-air while searching for them. No aliens, no magnetic anomalies, just a terrifying cascade of human error and bad luck. Let's solve this mystery. 2:10 p.m. Naval Air Station, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers taxi onto the runway. These aren't experimental aircraft, they're proven workhorses. Single-engine, 3-seat planes that served throughout World War II. Sturdy, reliable, nearly indestructible. The mission is called Navigation Problem Number 1. It's a basic training exercise, a triangular route over the ocean. Fly east for 56 miles to Hens and Chickens Shoals. Practice bombing runs. Continue east another 67 miles. Turn north for 73 miles over Grand Bahama Island. Turn southwest and fly 140 miles back to base. Total flight time, about 3 hours. They have 4 hours of fuel. Easy day. The flight leader is Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. He's got 2,500 flying hours and multiple combat tours in the Pacific. He's an experienced pilot. But here's what the history books don't always mention. Taylor showed up 25 minutes late that day. He asked if someone else could lead the flight. He seemed off. One witness said he'd just received a letter that appeared to shake him, but no replacement was available. So Taylor climbed into his cockpit and took off with 4 trainee pilots following behind. Everything went perfectly. They reached Hens and Chickens Shoals right on schedule, dropped their practice bombs, turned to continue the exercise, and then, at 3:45 p.m., Lieutenant Robert Cox, a different flight instructor conducting a separate training mission nearby, heard something strange on his radio. An unidentified voice asking, "What is your compass reading?" Another voice, clearly confused, "I don't know where we are. We must have got lost after that last turn." Cox radioed back, "This is FT-74. Identify yourself so someone can help you." A pause. Then a new voice, Taylor's voice call sign FT-28. "Both my compasses are out. I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I am over land, but it's broken. I am sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down. And that's where everything went wrong." Let me explain Taylor's mistake, because it's the key to understanding this entire disaster. Taylor believed he was over the Florida Keys, that chain of islands stretching southwest from Miami. He thought he was looking down at the Gulf of Mexico, but he wasn't. He was actually over the Bahamas, looking at Grand Bahama Island. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. Now, here's why this confusion was so deadly. If you're lost over the Florida Keys and you fly northeast, you hit Miami. You hit the mainland. You're saved. But if you're actually over the Bahamas and you fly northeast, you're heading out into the open Atlantic Ocean, away from land, into emptiness. And that's exactly what Taylor did. Other pilots in the formation knew something was wrong. At one point, you can hear someone on the radio, probably one of the trainees, shouting, "Damn it, if we could just fly west we would get home. Head west, damn it." He was right. If they'd flown west, they would have hit Florida's coast in under an hour. But Taylor was in command, and military discipline meant the trainees followed orders, even when those orders were leading them to their deaths. Ground stations tried to help. They suggested switching to the emergency frequency. They asked Taylor to turn on his YG transmitter so they could triangulate his position. They literally begged him to fly west toward the setting sun. Taylor refused, or maybe he just didn't hear them. Radio communication was breaking down as the weather worsened. By 5:50 p.m., multiple radio stations finally managed to triangulate Flight 19's position, approximately 120 miles east of Daytona Beach. Over the Atlantic Ocean, flying away from land, they were running out of fuel. At 6:04 p.m., Taylor's voice crackles over the radio one last time, and this is the actual transcript. Holding 270, we didn't fly far enough east. We may as well just turn around and fly east again. He still thought he was over the Gulf. He still thought flying east would take him to land. It wouldn't. By now, it's dark. The weather has turned violent. 40 miles per hour, winds at the surface, 75 miles per hour at altitude. Massive storm cells rolling across the area. Taylor's final transmission. At 6:20 p.m., all planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together. Then nothing. No distress calls. No emergency beacons. No wreckage. 14 men, somewhere over the Atlantic, trying to land 5 heavy aircraft, in the dark, in a storm, on rough seas. The TBM Avenger could ditch successfully, and calm water pilots did it all the time. But in those conditions, they never had a chance. But Flight 19 isn't the only mystery from that day. At 7:27 p.m., knowing that Flight 19's fuel had run out, the Navy launches 2 Martin PBM Mariner seaplanes to search for survivors. These are flying boats, massive aircraft that can land on water. One of them, carrying 13 crew members, takes off from Naval Air Station Banana River. At 7:30 p.m., the plane radios a routine position update. At 7:50 p.m., just 23 minutes after takeoff, the Mariner disappears from radar. No distress call. No mayday. Just gone. Later that night, a merchant ship in the area reports seeing something at exactly 7:50 p.m. Observed a burst of flames, apparently an explosion, leaping flames 100 feet high and burning for 10 minutes. The coordinates match the Mariner's last known position. So what happened? The Martin Mariner had a nickname among Navy crews: the Flying Gas Tank. These planes were notorious for fuel vapor buildup. One spark a cigarette, static electricity, a faulty wire, and the entire aircraft could explode mid-flight. The Navy's official report attributed the Mariner's loss to an in-flight explosion. 13 more men lost. 13 more families destroyed. By 10 p.m. on December 5, 1945, the U.S. Navy couldn't account for 6 aircraft and 27 crew members. The search operation that followed was one of the largest in naval history. 300,000 square miles of ocean combed by ships and aircraft. They searched for 5 days straight. They found nothing. No wreckage. No life rafts. No bodies. No oil slicks. Nothing. Here's where the legend takes over from reality. In the immediate aftermath, the Navy's Board of Investigation concluded that Lieutenant Taylor had become disoriented due to compass malfunction and had led his flight out to sea. The report essentially blamed Taylor for the disaster. Taylor's mother, Catherine, was furious. She fought the Navy for years, demanding they change the report. She argued that her son was an experienced pilot and that something else must have caused the tragedy. Eventually, to appease her, the Navy amended the official report to read, "Cause unknown." Those 2 words, cause unknown, would haunt this case for decades, because cause unknown leaves room for speculation, for theories, for mystery. In 1952, a magazine article mentioned the Flight 19 disappearance as part of a pattern of losses in a triangular area of the Atlantic. Then, in 1964, author Vincent Gaddis coined the term Bermuda Triangle in a magazine article specifically about Flight 19. The legend exploded. Books claimed the pilots had radioed. Everything looks wrong, strange. The ocean doesn't look as it should. Others said the final transmission was, "Don't come after us. They look like they're from outer space." None of that is in the official transcripts. None of it. But the damage was done. The Bermuda Triangle became a pop culture phenomenon. Alien abductions, magnetic anomalies, interdimensional portals, time warps. In 1977, Steven Spielberg's movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind depicted Flight 19 being abducted by aliens and deposited in the Mexican desert, the crew unchanged after 32 years. And people believed it. So what actually happened? Here's the timeline. 3:45 p.m. Taylor reports compass malfunction. He believes he's over the Florida Keys. He's actually over the Bahamas. 4 to 6 p.m. Taylor leads Flight 19 northeast, thinking he's heading toward Miami. He's actually heading out to sea. 6:20 p.m. With fuel exhausted and darkness falling, Taylor orders the flight to ditch together in storm-tossed seas. 6:27 p.m. 5 aircraft attempt water landings in 40-plus mph winds and rough seas. None survive. All 14 men drown or die on impact. 7:50 p.m. A rescue plane explodes midair due to fuel vapor ignition. 13 more dead. That's it. No mystery, no paranormal forces. Just a pilot who made a critical navigational error, compounded by radio communication problems, bad weather, and a rescue aircraft with a known design flaw. But here's what makes this story truly tragic. Taylor had gotten lost before. Twice during World War II, he'd become disoriented and had to ditch his plane in the ocean. Both times, he was rescued. This time, there was no one to save him. And his 4 trainee pilots, young men who knew they were heading in the wrong direction, followed him anyway, because that's what military discipline demands. Captain Edward Powers, one of the student pilots, was heard on the radio trying to suggest course corrections. He was higher ranking than Taylor, but junior as an Avenger pilot. He deferred to Taylor's experience. It cost him his life. 80 years later, people are still searching for Flight 19. In the 1990s, wreckage of TBM Avengers was found off the coast of Florida. For a moment, investigators thought they'd solved it. But the serial numbers didn't match. It was a different crash. In 2015, a newspaper claimed the Navy had secretly recovered one of the planes in the 1960s with 2 bodies still inside, found in woods near Sebastian, Florida. The Navy initially confirmed it. Then they recanted. They said they didn't have enough information to identify the remains. To this day, the official position is that Flight 19's wreckage has never been definitively located. Some researchers think the planes are in the Gulf Stream, carried far from their ditching location. Others believe they're in one of the Atlantic's deep trenches, miles below the surface, beyond the reach of any search. The families of those 27 men never got closure. No bodies to bury, no wreckage to visit. Just an official report that says, cause unknown. So, here's the truth about Flight 19. There was no Bermuda Triangle, no aliens, no supernatural forces. Just a pilot who made a fatal mistake, compounded by bad weather, communication failures, and a rescue plane that exploded trying to save them. That's the real story. And somehow, it's more haunting than any legend. If you want more deep dives into aviation mysteries and military disasters, hit that subscribe button. Next up, the SR-71 Blackbird, the spy plane that could outrun its own missiles. Comment below. Do you think Flight 19 will ever be found?